For those of you who saw the first video, you remember that I'm not going to put this back to factory condition. This piece, this outer spiral support, has failed in fatigue, and it's fatiguing because it's not properly connected. So I'm going to fabricate up some connections, some gussets that I'll attach to this, and then I won't have this issue again in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up, get it back down to bare metal so I can weld on it. And then I will make the profile impression so that I can build the gussets off of that. So here we go. I want to take a break from the project, the Auger project, and talk to you a little bit about grinders. And my website. So my website is whyscatfails.com, and it's designed to look at product that's put out in the marketplace that is subpar, that's breaking all the time. And looking at this Auger, there's definitely some design issues with it. But sometimes you go out there and you buy scat on purpose. Now, I want to talk to you about my grinder setup here. You see I have 3 grinders. I usually have a grinder with a flap disc on it, a grinder with a cutting disc on it, and a grinder with a grinding disc on it. And that is because I just get tired of changing discs. You use them all the time, and grinders are fairly inexpensive if you look for them, if you shop around. So I want to talk to you about my black grinder here. This was a $7 grinder 5 years ago, and the reason I'm doing this segment is because it just failed. It just broke. And I looked at it. It's got a crack here on the head. It's got a crack here on the head. So the casting up there, the aluminum casting, has failed. But when I was using it, it was burning up the electronics inside. So $7. I bought it completely expecting it to fail. I got about 5 times the life out of it that I thought I would. So in my opinion, that was $7 well spent. Now, if I didn't have 2 other grinders sitting here and I needed to grind something, that would have been in a very expensive $7. But because I have backup grinders, I'm absolutely happy with this grinder for $7. Anyway, I just wanted to take a minute and talk about that. Sometimes you buy scat knowing it's scat, and the price is just right. So with that, we'll get back to the Auger project. What I've done is I've gone out and I told you earlier I was going to fabricate up some brackets. So I'm just finishing up these brackets. I had to buy some steel, just 60 thou, 16 gauge plate metal. Shopping around at the store that's local here, found that if I use some electrical box covers, they're the right gauge. They're galvanized, so I'm going to have to grind some of that zinc off so that I don't have to weld through it. But these were cheaper, so I bought 4 plates. They were $4.40 for all 4 of them, and so it was the cheapest way for me to go. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish working on these and getting them set up so that they will work on the Auger. Well, welcome to my paint booth slash airsoft gun range here. So what I'm going to do is, now I have the brackets welded on. I'm going to go ahead and just primer it up and then put a flat black paint on it, just to give it a little bit of protection. So I'll go ahead and just... Okay, we're getting down to the end. It's been long enough for this primer to have dried. I'm just going to throw a couple of coats of flat black paint on it, and then we'll be done with the painting. We can start reassembling. All right, here we go. Okay, we've made it. We're now going to reassemble this auger to the snowblower. Just want to show you real quick. The brackets that were made and attached, some simple bracketry, but what it does is it takes the load that's in these outside stiffening members and transitions it right into the center axis, and prevents that fatiguing that happened at the weld in here. So with that, we're going to just go ahead and throw the spirals back on. I'm going to put this back in the snow blower, and I'll just walk through that quickly. So here we go. Okay, here we go. We're at the point now where we're going to install the auger back into the snowblower, and we'll just button this thing up. So here we go. So auger goes in pulley side first. Set it in there. Put it in like this. I'm just going to turn it so we can see it and so I can get to it a little easier. All right, now there is two different size spacers. There's a pulley side and a non-pulley side spacer. So make sure that you don't put them in backwards. The non-pulley side is a little bit smaller. So we'll just put that in, put in the bearing. Now I'm just going to go ahead and finish this side up since I'm here. Go ahead and work on the pulley side. I'll put the pulley side spacer in, pulley side bearing, bearing cap, this point we're going to put the pulley back on. Remember, it's a left thread, so you're going to have to turn it the opposite way that is normal. I'm going to go ahead and tighten this down a little bit. I don't know how necessary it is, because as you work the machine, it's continually tightening, as we saw earlier. It even tightens so much that it flares out the rod on the end. But nonetheless, we'll break out the old crescent wrench here and lock her down. That's done. Pull the board out. Alright, don't forget the belt. Now my belt's wore enough, I probably should go buy another one so that when it breaks I can replace it real quick. So, put that belt on, go under the idler. Alright, so now when we put this cover on, we're going to be careful this belt doesn't get knocked off here. So instead, I'm just going to pull that tight. Okay, now we have a very small screw. It goes in the front. When I say small, I mean short. Same size as the rest, just shorter. At this point, the auger is put back in. It's repaired. It is good to go. However, I'm not very happy with this cutting edge here. So it's made of a plastic of some sort. So I'm going to work on designing up a new one made out of a heavier duty material. And I'll do a video about that later on. So this should be good to go. A heavy duty auger. Shouldn't break again. Of course, you do still have to replace these spirals every once in a while as they wear out. So, all right, I hope you enjoyed it. With that, thank you very much. Visit my website, yscatfails.com.